I believe that cannabis is among the oldest crops cultivated by humans. All archaeologists agree that cannabis is among the oldest crops. And when you look at cannabis, it's the plant that produces more food and protein from its seed and oil from its seed, which is used as an illuminant and as a fuel today. It's the plant that produces more fiber from its stem for canvas, rope, lace, linen, building materials, paper, and it produces more medicine from its flowers. So I think taking the oldest crop and the most productive crop is wrong, and that has motivated me to be involved in the movement in the United States to change the marijuana laws. Back in the early 80s, I started working on initiative campaigns. Initiative campaigns are where you go into public and gather signatures from voters to try to place an issue on the ballot. And so I worked on an initiative back in 1986 to legalize marijuana in the state of Oregon. It was the second initiative to qualify for marijuana legalization. The first was a California initiative back in 1972, and it lost with about 41% of the vote. Our initiative in Oregon qualified for a vote in 1986, and we lost overwhelmingly as Ronald Reagan ramped up our drug war, and we just got 26% of the vote. But I began realizing that we needed to develop a model to regulate cannabis. And so, working with a team of activists in the Western United States, we developed a regulatory model that we called the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act. I started an organization with a group of other people called Campaign for the Restoration and Regulation of Hemp, or CRRH. And it's a political committee that continues today. And we've worked to place an initiative on the ballot, and we were successful in doing so last year. In fact, last year, there were 3 votes to legalize marijuana in the United States. The one in Colorado and Washington were successful. Unfortunately, ours in Oregon wasn't as well funded. Pretty much, I funded it. And we failed with just 47% of the vote. We fell about 100,000 votes shy of legalizing marijuana. So, a little bit more on my background is I started in 1990 an organization called the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization. I had some doctors who wanted to help medical marijuana patients get their permits. And so we started in Oregon and moved into Washington, and today help patients in 10 states in the United States, in 60 different cities across the United States, where patients give us medical records that show they have a qualifying medical condition. And then our doctors review those, then we set an appointment, then we help those patients obtain their state's medical marijuana license. We often move into state. This is a picture from our Denver office. When we opened in Colorado, there were only 700 medical marijuana patients. Then they're expanded to almost 200,000 before the implementation of the Colorado law that legalized it last year. So we've helped about 160,000 patients across the United States obtain their medical marijuana license. You know, when you look at marijuana, it has been used as a medicine. The oldest text written by humans list marijuana in the Rig Veda, in the third Rig Veda, in Sanskrit and in Chinese. And about 150 years ago, a lot of pharmaceutical companies offered marijuana for a wide variety of conditions, including migraines, neuralgic problems, neurodegenerative diseases. Companies still in existence today like Eli Lilly offered about 10 different cannabis products. And even companies such as this one, Johnson & Johnson, which is still in existence today as well, offered this topical cannabis plaster placed on your skin if you have burns or a skin problem. You can look at hemp. It was first made illegal in the United States back in the 1930s. I believe that hemp was criminalized because a variety of affected industries realized that the newly discovered and invented machinery to process hemp had made hemp much less expensive. Just as 100 years before, the cotton gin had caused the price of cotton to drop dramatically, new inventions to process cannabis had caused its cost to drop dramatically. And so hemp fuels were a product that was going to compete with petrochemicals. This gentleman, Harry Anslinger, is really the father, or the most active person publicly who criminalized marijuana. First in the United States as the first head of our Federal Bureau of Narcotics. The Bureau of Narcotics has morphed into our Drug Enforcement Administration back in 1972. But Anslinger also led the charge to implement the Single Convention Treaty of 1961 as his parting shot to make marijuana illegal on an international basis. And unfortunately, he's been successful at that. And as an American, I'd like to apologize to you for his actions doing that. So hemp seeds and seed oil are, I believe, the primary reason that marijuana was prohibited. And the cultivation of hemp offers a lot of environmental benefits for us today. As I'm sure many of you know, we could use hemp for paper, fabric, and fuel. It could replace a lot of the environmentally destructive processes out there.
Este es un artículo que apareció en una revista en 1937 cuando se ilegalizó la marihuana. Se llama Cáñamo, el nuevo cultivo del billón de dólares. Cuando legalicemos la marihuana y retiremos las restricciones artificiales, podremos lograr el aceite de semilla más útil. Y creo que entonces los biocombustibles se volverán secundarios. Este es un mapa de los Estados Unidos donde se ve la legalización de marihuana en morado. Ahí es completamente legal. Los verdes, Oregón y California, tienen marihuana médica y han descriminalizado su uso. Los verdes claritos la tienen como medicina, pero no está descriminalizada. Este año hemos pasado de 18 estados que tienen marihuana medicinal. En Illinois y en New Hampshire también han añadido la marihuana medicinal, por lo que ahora tenemos 20 estados con marihuana medicinal. Irónicamente, Washington DC en Estados Unidos no es parte de un estado, es un territorio federal, y ellos han aceptado una ley de la marihuana de hace 2 años, por lo que ahora hay un dispensario justo dentro de la Casa Blanca, en la capital de Estados Unidos. Estados Unidos tiene menos de 5% de la población mundial, pero casi el 25% de los prisioneros mundiales. Luisiana contiene 2/3 de sus prisioneros por delitos no violentos. Tenemos además cárceles privadas. Esto ha llevado a un menor coste de encarcelamiento y estas prisiones están haciendo una presión sobre los políticos para, obviamente, conseguir llevar su negocio mejor. Esto es parte de la campaña en la que estábamos intentando legalizar la marihuana en Oregón, pero aunque no lo hemos logrado, hemos visto un gran cambio, especialmente desde el pasado noviembre. Cuando el 27% se obtuvo en nuestro país y el 56% en Colorado, hemos tenido un 63% este año de votantes de Oregón que pueden lograr, que están a favor de legalizar la marihuana. Creo que es un factor crucial para la supervivencia de nuestra especie, porque creo que la marihuana es un indicador de la futura libertad de la humanidad. Tenemos que tomar este cultivo, que es el más antiguo y el más productivo, darnos cuenta de que se ha prohibido y de que esto es un problema de libertades personales y de libertad de pensamiento. Así que nosotros estamos intentando evitar la prohibición de la marihuana y quiero dar las gracias a los paneles de hoy. Muchas gracias por invitarme y muchas gracias a ustedes por venir a esta conferencia. Estaremos tomando preguntas.